Welcome back to the Daily Wrap. ISIS is getting bigger and scarier. FBI Director James Comey told an audience at the Aspen Security Forum that the Islamic State group's efforts to inspire American Muslims to violence has become more of a threat to the U.S. than an attack from al-Qaeda. Why is that? They have mastered social media to inspire radicalized Muslims all across the world. According to Comey, Twitter accounts run by ISIS have 21,000 followers who are English-speaking. ISIS, who was called a JV team by the president less than a year ago, is now bigger and more dangerous than al-Qaeda was on 9/11, according to the head of the FBI. That's scary stuff. Let's bring in our friend, former FBI agent and former Navy SEAL, Jonathan Gilliam. Welcome, Jonathan. How are you?
Good to be with you.
Good to see you. Jonathan, pretty startling news from James Comey. Why are we not hearing similar news from the White House?
I mean, that question kind of answers itself, doesn't it? The White House doesn't really tell anybody anything anymore that has to do with like real facts when it comes to terrorism. I mean, even Director Comey kind of tiptoes around things, and it's just a sign that the overall, which we've discussed on this show tons of times, the overall strategic plan to defeat fundamental Islam does not exist. And so now what they're doing is they see, they talk about ISIS is bigger than al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda is here, al-Qaeda in Yemen is there. The fact is, it's fundamental Islam. That is the thread that keeps all these things together, and that is what's growing. And until they start recognizing that and stop concentrating solely on individual groups, then they'll start to make a big difference.
You talk about a plan, Jonathan, and one of the things, this train and equip plan that they had that cost, I think, $500 million, we recently heard with regard to Syria, it only resulted in about 60 trainees. That sounds like a bad investment to me. What do you think happened there?
Anytime they spent, it was like every other thing that they had. It was ineffective. It was planned by the wrong people, and largely in part, politicians or at least people that are in executive positions in government that are very political are the ones who plan these things. When I was in the SEAL teams, they came up and designed this entire small ship for SEALs, but it was designed by everybody but the SEAL. At the end of that, when they actually deployed this vessel, you could only fit half of a platoon on one of these boats. So it's the same thing here. It's ineffective planning. They're not taking the people that really know what they're talking about when it comes to fighting this this fundamental Islam that's spreading globally. And so everything that they do is like a little Band-Aid here, a little Band-Aid there, and nothing really truly works.
Jonathan, it's Rick Unger. You talk about the ineffective planning. I wonder if we are doing a reasonably good job of using the data that we know. In other words, we find out that there are 21,000 followers of these ISIL accounts on Twitter. Can we use that data to track who those people are? And is it too many people to keep track of to know who's going to be a problem? Or is there something there that we can work with to improve our security?
Look, you brought up an incredible point. Rick, if you're running a company and I gave you the name I gave you the information about 21,000 followers that were following your company, you could manipulate those numbers and do all kinds of things to get business.
Yeah.
Why is it that we can't re-engineer that ourselves to where we're going after that 21,000 is almost, if not just as dangerous as the ISIS members who were actually, populating that account with information?
John, hi, it's Brad. Look, quick question. Surfaced today was digital images of a 9.5-year-old child with a Kalashnikov dressed in a full uniform. And people were horrified and shocked and appalled. Why do you think this kind of image, which shouldn't be shocking anymore at all, this is normal in the Islamic world, of a jihadist world anyway, why are we doing such a bad job communicating that is a real norm that we're going to have to take on, or we are going to lose?
Well, Brad, it's probably the same reason why you only see me on the news when there's breaking news typically, and not just analyzing things. I'm an expert. I know what I'm talking about when I'm analyzing these things. But the news doesn't like to have this on, have somebody like me on all the time, because it makes too much sense for all this stuff. The news likes to really push forward certain types of images like this child, and then people are astounded by this. They're not well informed. The American people are just not well informed enough to where they realize that these individual groups or homegrown operatives, as I like to call them, those are the real danger.
All right, Jonathan. Well, we like to have you on, and I'm sure we'll be having you on a lot more. Thank you so much for your knowledge and experience.
You got it. Thank you.
Guys, what do you think? You think that ISIS is going to, now that we have Turkey getting involved, they're going to allow some airstrikes from there? You think that's going to help at all?
No, I really don't. I know we don't have a lot of time, so.
It'll help marginally, but this is a much bigger, dirtier, more complicated fight, and we're going to have to embrace that if we want to win it.
How much of a threat do you guys think ISIS is? Go to newsmaxtv.com/comments and let us know. That's newsmaxtv.com/comments. Coming up, New York may be the next state to raise its minimum wage. Just how much? We'll tell you. This is the Daily Wrap, only on Newsmax TV.